I know, I'm very sorry. And he went, no, I'll tell you what you look like. You know that bit in the film Men in Black?
So, I hear you're doing a new show recently.
Yeah, I'm taking a show up to Edinburgh Fringe. So it's from the 31st to the 24th August, and it's called Real Talk. And it's on at 10:20 every evening, apart from the 12th.
That's so cool. So, I heard you also got into comedy at your 15.
Yeah, I sort of did it as like we had these public speaking competitions at school that I kind of tried to make into stand-up. But I wasn't like out working at 15. And I sort of started properly when I was like 18, which is still quite young, I guess. But
I imagine it's very hard to get into comedy when you are so young.
Sort of. It's kind of the reason I started growing a beard, was because I felt it would help, not just like seem older, but when you're on stage and you're so obviously the youngest person in the room.
Yeah.
People are like, why, what? I don't care about what you think.
So what would you say is your comedy style?
It's quite loud. It's a lot of opinions and kind of thoughts, and it's me trying to like process stuff that's going on in my head. It's not really like jokey joke, pun type stuff. I hate puns. It's more kind of me trying to work out what if I can get really up my own arse about it. I read the thing about in a book that was like an artist's job is to go to the frontier of consciousness and report back what's there. And that really stuck with me about kind of like trying to explain what goes on in my head when I see stuff and stuff like that.
That's quite interesting.
I hope so. It's meant to be funny more than interesting, obviously, but yeah.
So obviously you've been doing this for quite a while. Have you learned anything on your way of doing comedy?
Yeah. We mean about doing comedy or just life?
Just anything, life.
You kind of learn not to give a shit. Are we allowed to swear? Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
You learn not to care that much after a while about. I think once you have a certain amount of good gigs, and you realise that, you know, in average terms you're all right. You have to just kind of do what you do and not care about certain things.
So you did lots of warm up for lots of shows.
Yeah, I've done quite a lot of TV warm up. That's a lot of it's not that fun.
How are you doing?
How's Noel?
How's Noel?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. How many people, right, when were you there?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Right, I sometimes do the warm-up for Deal or No Deal. And, yeah, fucking lap it up, yeah.
I imagine you learn a lot from it as well.
Yeah, you learn, so that's when you learn about like, just not having any material, and you just have to just make stuff up off the top of your head. And there's no limit to how long you can be on for. Like I remember once, at Deal or No Deal, Noel Edmonds had thrown some kind of hissy fit, his cowboy boots didn't fit, or something bullshit like that. Anyway, and I got sent on because they thought he was ready, and then I was out there for an hour and a half
Oh my god.
before he came out, and you're just like, you can't leave any dead air. It's a bit like radio in that point, because it looks really bad. You have to just keep talking complete shit out of your mouth.
Any other questions? Good. So, yeah, you're looking at me with sort of reverence now, and you're going, Christ, he's a bit part actor for Mr. Blobby's fluffer. Brilliant.
So how do you come up with the ideas for those shows?
It's weird, like, so it's quite weird, because like for this one, a thing happened, and it's like a kind of lightning bolt. You don't really know what it is, but you know that you're going to talk about it, and it takes maybe like a few months to actually understand properly what it means. But you kind of, it's weird. It's like a kind of brain instinct, if there's such a thing. So this year, I was going over from. It was in Edinburgh last year. Actually, I was going for my show to do a gig in Glasgow. I was on a train, and I was sat like in a 4 seats with a dog. Well, not like it was with a woman. It wasn't a dog. Hadn't got on the train. But, and the dog looked at me and like yawned, and then I yawned, and then everything I believed in just started falling about. And I sort of knew instantly. I was like, that's so funny. I have to talk about that, and that has to be a show. But it took me ages to realise why that was funny and what that meant about stuff.
So it's all down to that dog?
Yeah, basically, it's all down to one dog on a train from Edinburgh to Glasgow.
So have you ever had a really bad experience on stage?
Oh, loads. Yeah, loads. A lot of them are Deal or No Deal.
Really?
I had the one that when they always say like, what's your worst gig? There was one early on in Exeter where they threw coins at me, but that's not that funny. That's just kind of bleak.
Yeah.
So
that's a bit weird. Coins.
Yeah, that was the worst one.
So what was your favourite gag you've ever told?
Well, the one that I kind of when I first got, because you're pretty rubbish when you start out as a stand-up. Like you don't really know what stand-up is properly, especially when you're 18. You're kind of doing impressions of different people you've seen, and with the first time that I got like a laugh I didn't know that you could get, which was when it's a sort of this prop and it's this sponge in a shower. I don't really know what it is, and that's the point of the gag. I think it's a lady thing. It's like a kind of big, puffy, white, fluffy net thing, and it was. I'd come back from a gig. I was really hungover, and I was doing a gig that night, and it was a new material night. I didn't have anything. I was just having a shower like before I went, and this thing just like sticking to me, and it was fucking rank. And I just got so annoyed in the shower. I went, "What even is that?" That I just took it with me to the gig.
Yeah.
And went, "Hello, everyone," and pulled out a bag and went, "Right, what is this?" And it got this huge reaction because it was clear that. Like men didn't know what it was, and women understood that only they really used them, or that they weren't. It wasn't known what it was. And then like I just kind of riffed on what I thought it could be, and loads of jokes came out of it. But that was the first time, like over a 3-minute routine that was like solid laughter, and you're just kind of topping it up.
Yeah. So did you ever find out what it was?
Various things. They've called it, well, it's sort of a loofah, but not that. And like some people call it a shower puff, but I don't think you can say that anymore. I still don't really know. I still don't really know what it is. And you know what? I don't really want to know because I think you have to keep fresh in the joke. And if I actually knew what it was, I'd be a bit dead behind the eyes saying it. So yeah.
It wouldn't be as funny anymore.
It wouldn't be as funny. So I don't want to know what it is.
Thank you very much for sitting with us.
Not at all. Pleasure.
Although because I recently bumped into a friend of mine who I always considered to be the geekiest man I ever met, right? And he's called Marcus, but we always call him Goose. And I call him Goose for 2 reasons. The first one is because he had very coarse asthma. So, like, whenever he was stressed, he'd kind of go, and the second reason was, in football, he was always in goal, and he wasn't very good, so he used to kind of flap at the crosses, so if there was like a corner, and he was late on, he'd go, so we're like, Goose, right?